The greatest terrorism-related threat that we face in the homeland is the threat of domestic violent extremism. Individuals drawn to violence because of ideologies of hate or false narratives propagated on social media and other online platforms. And the most prominent threat is the threat of white supremacists.
That's Al Sharpton's National Action Network, speaking in front of a banner that says, "No justice, no peace," ironic enough. I mean, is he delusional? I mean, that's the Secretary of Homeland Security, Alex Mayorkas. This man is responsible for protecting America from threats both foreign and domestic. And he inexplicably thinks that the biggest threat to America is domestic terrorism rooted in white supremacy. Show me the data to support that. It's no surprise. If you consider he was virtue signaling to the crowd at Al Sharpton's group, when was the last time you heard of a white supremacy attack, folks? I mean, Black Lives Matter and Antifa have destroyed billions of dollars worth of America's cities and violence that led to dozens of deaths. Well, Congressman Greg Steube tried to make that point official, introducing an amendment to the Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act.
My amendment would ensure that the most dangerous left-wing groups in this country are included in the enhanced reporting, training, and interagency cooperation portions of this bill. This amendment would include Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and radicalized social justice groups alongside neo-Nazis and white supremacists.
Sounds super reasonable to me. Surprise, surprise, Congressman Greg Steube was shot down by Democrats, though, but he's going to join us now to talk about it. Congressman, this seems super rational to me. I mean, why would they not have allowed this in there, considering there was like $2 billion worth of damages by these two groups?
Well, because they're Democrats and everything is a political agenda, and they want to highlight neo-Nazi and white supremacy groups while ignoring everything that happened in 2020. BLM and Antifa rioting in these big cities, attacking federal courthouses, killing individuals. We're going to ignore all of that. And I think it's interesting to put them on the board. Every single Democrat voted against that. So let them go back and explain when they're running for office why they don't think that Antifa and Black Lives Matter, based on all the riots and everything that happened last year, shouldn't be included in a domestic terrorist organization. In 2020, Rasmussen reported that almost 50% of America believe they should be designated as a domestic terrorist organization. That was 2 years ago. I can only imagine what that number is today.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, too, is like there's a couple white supremacists out there doing stupid things in something that is grossly antiquated and not accepted by any mainstream Republican anywhere. But yet that's the number one threat to America right now is somewhere rooted something. They found something in the ether with no specific example of white supremacy. What are they using to push this narrative?
Well, they're not using, they use January 6th overall. You know, they use that as a basis for everything. So despite the fact that neo-Nazis and white supremacy groups, there's every single person that entered the Capitol that day, there's not any proof that they were aligned with these type of organizations. So there's no facts or basis to support that. And I think once the Republicans take control in November and we actually do a real investigation as to what occurred on January 6th, we'll have a lot more information to base those decisions off of. To this day, Speaker Pelosi has refused to release all of the video evidence that happened on the day of January 6th. Why is that? What are they hiding? Why isn't she releasing her communication on that day? But they're going to use that. They're going to use white supremacy and neo-Nazi all the way into the November election because they think that that will get them reelected into the House.
Right. Well, that's the problem, too, is, you know, there was recently somebody who was just acquitted on all charges from entering the Capitol because, hey, they reasonably appeared to have been let in. So that kind of defeats the whole narrative, but yet they're still beating that drum, saying that it's some sort of white supremacy thing. I got to ask, though, you have a bunch of people, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, pick one, I don't know, burning down courthouses, federal buildings, state buildings, torching neighborhoods, things like that. In what world is that not a terrorist organization, sir?
Well, because they refuse to identify and designate leftist terrorist organizations. When the Attorney General of the United States was before the Judiciary Committee, I asked him about the Department of Interior breach that looked very much like January 6th, where leftist
I remember that.
People were in getting into the Department of Interior, and fascinatingly, he hadn't even heard about it.
That's
it was
so
blocked
weird.
from his office, hadn't even heard about it.
Yeah. Surprise, surprise. Well, Congressman Greg Steube, we appreciate you fighting the good fight for us, sir. Stay strong.
Yeah, you too.